Every year, people searching for comfort or answers lose tens of millions to psychic scams. These losses aren't just numbers on a page. They represent real people, real families, and real dreams that have been shattered. The promise of hope, guidance, or a message from a loved one can be so powerful that it overrides skepticism, making even the most cautious among us vulnerable. The true cost is even higher. Countless cases go unreported, and the emotional toll is devastating. Many victims are too embarrassed or ashamed to come forward, fearing judgment or ridicule from friends and family. This silence allows the cycle to continue, with new victims falling prey every day. This is a global industry, quietly exploiting our deepest hopes and fears. From bustling cities to small towns, psychic businesses thrive in nearly every culture, adapting their tactics to fit local beliefs and customs. The practice is ancient, but the methods have evolved. From Victorian seances in candlelit parlors to online chat rooms and social media ads that target the vulnerable at any hour, technology has only made it easier for scammers to reach people in their most private moments. The transaction remains the same: faith traded for money, trust, and sometimes a person's life savings. What starts as a small payment for a reading can quickly spiral into thousands lost as scammers invent new crises or curses that only more money can fix. Victims aren't foolish, they're often intelligent people, caught in moments of vulnerability, grief, illness, or hardship. In these moments, the need for hope can outweigh logic, and the desire for answers can cloud even the sharpest minds. Scammers step in when defenses are lowest, offering magical solutions for a price. They use psychological tricks, cold reading, and emotional manipulation to gain trust and keep victims coming back. The financial loss is just the beginning. The psychological fallout is profound. Victims may struggle with anxiety, depression, and a deep sense of betrayal that lingers long after the money is gone. Victims feel isolated and ashamed, often blaming themselves and staying silent. This isolation can make recovery even harder as they withdraw from support networks and lose trust in others. This silence lets scammers move from one target to the next, leaving broken trust and shattered lives in their wake. The cycle repeats, unchecked and largely invisible to the outside world. It's a quiet crime, but its impact is anything but silent. The echoes of loss, shame, and heartbreak ripple through families and communities, reminding us that the cost of belief can be far greater than we ever imagined. In Westwick, Eleanor Vance became known as Madame Evangeline, a medium with a supposed gift. Her readings began in her living room, surrounded by candles and mystery. She claimed to have spoken with spirits since childhood, a gift she now shared with the world. Her warmth and empathy drew people in, and soon her reputation spread. She was soft-spoken, humble, and insisted she was just a vessel for messages from beyond. This humility made her seem trustworthy, and her business grew into a spiritual center downtown. Services ranged from tarot readings to spirit board sessions, with prices that started low. For vulnerable clients, the initial reading was just the beginning of a much deeper and more expensive relationship. Eleanor was a master observer, using cold reading and careful listening to gather details. To her clients, her insights felt miraculous. To Eleanor, it was simply good business. Madame Evangeline's approach was psychological manipulation disguised as empathy. She didn't just claim to see the future, she made her clients feel truly seen, as if she alone could understand their deepest fears and hopes. Her methods were subtle, calculated, and always tailored to the person sitting across from her. She listened intently, nodding at the right moments, asking gentle questions that encouraged clients to open up. By mirroring their emotions and concerns, she built a powerful sense of trust before ever mentioning spirits or supernatural forces. This emotional bond made clients see her as a confidant, not just a service provider. They felt safe sharing secrets they'd never told anyone else, believing she genuinely cared about their well-being. She used cold reading, vague guesses, and careful observation to deliver messages that felt personal. Every sigh, every nervous glance became a clue she used to craft her predictions. If a guess landed, she elaborated, weaving it into a convincing narrative. If not, she smoothly shifted direction, always adapting to the client's reactions and never letting on that she was fishing for information. After a few sessions, she'd introduce a problem, a curse, a dark energy, or a spiritual blockage that only she could remove. The client, already invested, would feel a growing sense of urgency and fear. Suddenly, clients faced a spiritual threat that required her expensive intervention. The stakes were raised, and the solution always seemed just out of reach, unless they paid for more sessions, rituals, or special items. She isolated victims, warning them to keep their spiritual work secret from skeptical friends and family. She claimed that outside negativity could disrupt the process or even make things worse. This secrecy made clients feel special, chosen for a unique spiritual journey, but it also cut them off from support. They became more reliant on her guidance, unable to seek advice from loved ones. Alone and convinced they were under attack, clients became dependent on her. Their anxiety grew, and they clung to her every word, desperate for reassurance and protection. The scam was complete: trust, isolation, and escalating demands for money. Each payment felt like a step closer to safety, but the goalposts always moved. What began as comfort turned into control. The clients' lives, decisions, and finances were now entangled in Madame Evangeline's web. Her clients were now prepared to do whatever she asked, convinced that only she could save them from the darkness she had conjured. The damage Madame Evangeline caused went far beyond money. Her actions left invisible wounds that lingered long after the cash was gone, shattering the very foundation of her victims' lives. Carol, a retired teacher grieving her husband, was told a family curse trapped his spirit. Desperate for answers and comfort, she clung to the hope that Evangeline could bring him peace. To break it, she handed over her life savings for rituals, eventually selling her home and losing everything. Each ritual promised relief, but only deepened her despair as her world unraveled. When the money ran out, Evangeline vanished, leaving Carol in debt and despair. The sense of betrayal was overwhelming, compounding her grief with shame and isolation. Mark, a young businessman, was convinced a hex was ruining his life. He watched his career falter and relationships crumble, believing only Evangeline could save him. He spent his business capital on spiritually charged gold coins, borrowed from family, and lost his business and relationships. The more he lost, the more desperate he became, until there was nothing left to give. The emotional toll was worse than the financial loss. Victims like Carol and Mark were left questioning their own judgment, haunted by regret and self-blame. These stories reveal the true nature of psychic fraud. It exploits grief, fear, love, and hope. It preys on the vulnerable, weaving lies that feel like lifelines, but only tighten the grip of despair. Victims are left with shame and self-doubt, their trust weaponized against them. Many withdraw from friends and family, afraid to admit what happened. The scars are deep and lasting. For some, the pain never fully heals, and the sense of loss lingers for years. The silence of victims allows the scam to continue. Many suffer alone, believing no one will understand or care. The real tragedy is not just the money lost, but the lives left in ruins, the broken trust, the isolation, and the dreams that can never be reclaimed. Psychic scammers use psychological tricks, not supernatural powers. Cold reading is key, observing details and making educated guesses framed as psychic insight. Barnum's statements, vague, universal phrases, make clients feel understood. Social media makes it easy to gather personal information for impossible revelations. The scammer identifies a fear or desire, invents a supernatural problem, and presents themselves as the only solution. The cure always costs money, often in escalating amounts. The real power is in exploiting emotional vulnerability. The formula is simple: create a crisis, offer a solution, demand payment. It's a cruel manipulation of the universal desire for control and hope. The scam is calculated, not mystical. The only magic is in the manipulation. Madame Evangeline's downfall began with doubt, not drama. Carol confided in her son, who found others with similar stories online. Armed with evidence, they went to the police. Authorities were skeptical, but detailed records and multiple victims revealed a pattern of fraud. Detective work uncovered Eleanor Vance's history of similar scams in other towns. Financial records matched victims' withdrawals to her deposits. A search of her apartment found cash, luxury goods, and notebooks detailing clients' secrets. A playbook for deception. Confronted with evidence, the spiritual mask fell away. Madame Evangeline was exposed as a serial fraudster. The spirits fell silent because the law finally caught up. Justice replaced the illusion. Protecting yourself starts with spotting red flags. Beware any psychic who claims you're cursed and demands expensive rituals to fix it. Real advisors empower, not frighten or isolate. Escalating fees, requests for valuables, and secrecy are classic scam tactics. Isolation is key. Scammers try to cut you off from friends and family. Always keep communication open with people you trust. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Ask logical questions. Why does a spirit need your money? Why secrecy? A genuine advisor welcomes questions. A scammer pressures you to comply. Skepticism is your best defense. Stay alert and don't be afraid to walk away. Madame Evangeline's story is a warning about the dangers of manipulated belief. She preyed on desperation, selling comforting lies at a high price. Anyone can be vulnerable after loss or hardship. Scammers know this. Their success is not about gullibility, but about their skill and our need for hope. The law can't always protect us. Awareness and skepticism are our best defense. We must look out for each other and encourage victims to speak up without shame. Recognize red flags, trust your instincts, and question easy solutions with high price tags. Protecting yourself from fraud shouldn't be a mystery. Stay grounded, stay smart, and keep your wallet in this world. Vigilance is our strongest shield. Madame Evangeline's tale is a map from hope to heartbreak, a script used by many who profit from pain. Understanding the formula exposes the scam's predictability and weakens its power. This isn't about cynicism, but discernment, separating real empathy from manipulation. True friends empower you, scammers make you dependent. Education is our best defense. Share stories, discuss red flags, and support the vulnerable. Open conversations break the isolation scammers rely on. The world of psychic phenomena is full of curiosity, but also danger. Stay informed, trust your critical thinking, and lean on those you trust. Knowledge is your greatest power. Subscribe for more insights into the strange and fascinating corners of our world.